G'day. Well, here it is, the end of 2022. Can't even say it. Must have been on the Champers already. I'm going to try and give you some video here. I'm not sure even what I'm going to give you, but I just want to get back on the road and get some video footage for you, so we'll just see how that goes. I'm standing in front of the giant marina. I'm in Goulburn, and it's so popular. I was lucky to squeeze this in without all the tourists coming and taking all their photos. And have a great New Year's Eve. You're off to buy a caravan. What's your budget? If it's a low budget, say 20 to 35,000, then you're really looking at a very small van or a pop top. If your budget, second hand I'm talking, if your budget is say 40 grand to 65,000, you'll start getting a nice van like so, the QE2. Or if you sort of haven't got a budget, some caravans are $100,000 plus. So decide on your budget and then you can move on to stage 2. So once you've decided on your budget, your next thing is what are you actually capable of pulling in the tow factor. My Prado can only tow 2.5 tonnes. Some of the other cars can tow 3.5 tonnes, and the V8 Land Cruiser can tow 4 tonnes. If you're towing 4 tonnes, you can pretty much choose anything on the market. I've had a couple of requests from people who wanted to look at my new van. Now it's a Corrimal 615 F Series, and inside it's quite light, which means that I can tow it with my Prado. It's quite a rare thing to have such a big thing. It's 20'6", if I didn't mention it already. So here is an overall of the van. I've got the stove, which is used a lot. I'll put this little protector on it so it doesn't scratch. I'm sure it'll be fine. Lift that up. We've got the gas there and the little igniter, igniter for cooking. And then here is this little cover for travelling. Basic, nice size sink. You can actually get a lot of the, in the smaller van I couldn't get the saucepans in the sink. So anyway, you can do that. The downside is you do use a lot more water to fill it up. That's fine. Lots of cupboards all across the top here, all across the top. And you can see cupboards above the bed and the wardrobe either side. And down in the bedroom department, as you can see, it's a queen-sized bed, which is great. It does have a foam mattress, which is a bit of a frustration, but it's one of those things. Also, at least that way, you don't have the weight of a full queen. So what I did was I bought, I don't know what they're called, but basically it sits on the mattress and it gives it some more comfort. A comforter, I think it's called a comforter. Talking about the anti-flap kits, and there's a couple of types you can get. You can get this type, which is the ones that I quite recommend, quite nice and wide, and when they go up on the material of the awning, they're really quite stable. The other type is, I'm really lucky on my awning bars, there's actually one that's built in, so that gives it one straight up, which is great. And the third type is you can get them that run either they're halfway along the awning or each third, and they're big bars that go across and they go to a little hook connection on the caravan. But I'm just happy with these ones and the inbuilt one. While I'm talking about the awnings, this little clip, little chrome steel clip, actually goes over the cassette of the awning, clips in, and then it gives you an area where you can actually pull the create tension on the awning, which is a great idea. Hooks onto this clip, and then once it's hooked in down the bottom, then it's a matter of pulling some tension on it. You should be able to play a little tune on it if it's tight enough. Check this out, random tip, right? Sometimes when your wide door is open, the other door is locked against the wall of the caravan, but as it opens and slams, these door handles are really prone to snap and break. To replace them is not that expensive, but to actually refit them is a real nightmare. So what you can do is you can get a little champagne cork. Here's one I prepared earlier, under great sacrifice, and pop it in the little hole there, put it up the top, so that when the door goes to slam, it's just hitting the cork. That's random. When you're packing all your bits and bobs into the car and into the caravan and whatever you're doing to head off on your trip, whether it's a weekender, 1 week, a month, or all the way around Australia, there's one thing we'll never forget. That's the mobile phone. Now, whether you've got an iPhone or an Android, either which way, there'll be lots of apps, of choices of apps that you can take on your trip. In this video, I want to talk about some of the apps that are probably best suited and those that will help you the most on your big trip. So there's the Fuel Map, Google Maps, Waze. Now Waze is handy because Waze, as opposed to Google, you can actually add traffic spots, or when the traffic is slowed down or there's an accident, you can actually add that, and then that goes into the database, and then suddenly it pops up on everybody else's Waze in that area. Wikicamps, again, it's a lot to do with filters. HipCamp, which is a variation on Wikicamps. eBay, buy or sell, because it's handy to know how to do it properly. Gumtree. Marketplace, which is a Facebook product. The phone. A lot of people don't realise that the phone can do so many things that it is actually able to do with iPhone or the Android. By doing Hey Siri or Siri and Hey Google, you can get all sorts of things done. You can get the phone to read you the news. You can get it you can ask what time it is in London. You can say what's the weather today. All those sort of things that you can do while you're driving without actually picking up the phone and doing it, so it's handy. And the weather app, there's a couple of 2 or 3 weather apps that are quite good. Just your basic weather app's good. The BOM, which is the government thing, that's great if you go into the BOM and you check the radar and you can see all the rain coming down your way. Gives you the opportunity to bring in things like washing or pull the awning down and so on and so forth. First of all, a lot of people, it's a delicate topic. So when you're asking people on the road, oh, what sort of fuel consumption do you get? You get all sorts of mixed reactions. Some people don't want to talk about it. Some people say, I don't really take any notice. I just drive. I just fill up when I need to. Others will give you an inaccurate figure just because they feel as though they should be getting a better fuel consumption, and it feels better if they say, oh, I'm getting 14 litres per 100. Really? A V8? Anyhow, one of the things is a lot of people, when they'll give you a fuel consumption, because I'd like to know this, for me, fuel consumption is pretty big on the list. What they'll do is they'll read off whatever's on the dashboard. In other words, lots of the modern cars these days have got your little computer and it says you're getting 14 litres or 16 litres or 18 litres per 100. It just comes up on the dashboard because you just click through and there's the reading. However, my belief is that's just basically there to make you feel warm and cosy. I don't think that's very accurate. My preference to that would be to use something like Fuel Map, which I talked about in an earlier episode. Go in, you put in how many litres, you put out how much money you spent and the rate and the cost of the actual fuel at the time. It calculates it all for you and then it sits in the history. Like, and once it's in there, all sorts of things could go wrong. So probably not a good idea washing your feet in the kitchen sink. Now here it is. I'm going to try desperately not to get wet. I know I should be having a shower, but I wouldn't put you through it. But I want to show you the mechanism. So I've got my bucket of warm water, or tepid, definitely not too hot. Scald yourself. The slight disadvantage of this is the controls, and you've kind of got to have the controls and that near each other, and I don't want to get that wet. It's a long story. Okay, so what I've done is the bottom part of this portable shower, you'll see that, it actually sucks the water up. So you pop that in as low as you can. A little trick, sometimes it's a good idea to put a little bit of a weight, tie a little weight on the bottom, because if it comes up like halfway up to here in the bucket, obviously you're only going to get half a shower and you want it. I go on, sorry. All right, here we go. Now this little button here, there, see that button? That turns it, allegedly turns it on and off. And from memory it dribbles a lot, a bit like me. Here we go. All right, there we go, look at that. Now whether you can see that. Now that button I should be able to click, turn it off. There you go. It almost works. You see, if I got some of that white plumbing tape and fixed that up, I probably wouldn't have that dribbles there, but it's pretty good. And that's coming on, I don't know whether you can tell, but that's coming out at a pretty good rate. And the technique is, yeah, have a bit of a wash, a bit of a rinse off, and then turn it off. If you wanted to check out the solar panels. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Oh well, lots of power coming my way for free. Although it did cost a little bit of money to put them up here. G'day. This week I want to take you to a town where one of the most successful gold prospectors was a horse. I want to take you back in time and go searching for little trinkets of the late 1800s, and I want to take you to a place where water was probably more precious and more valuable than gold. Back in the 1890s in Norseman, which is just up the road, they were selling water for 100 gallons would cost 25 shillings. But if you were really fussy, you could pay 1 shilling for 1 gallon, and that gave you really nice water. You probably weren't bathing in it, but it was pretty nice water. How's these little things, historical things? Part of an old shoe. And this one here I'm pretty sure is a tin of treacle. I'll bring it over and show you. So this I'm pretty sure is an old tin of treacle. And this could be the base for a bottle of olive oil. And this almost definitely is a little pouch for holding tobacco when the guys are rolling their own down by the mine. An old cricket pitch, late 1800s. Imagine the guys come down here. Warney, the Warney of the late 1800s. Comes down with it. He's coming down with it. All off. Better brace yourself. That wouldn't have been too clever if I had have hit the tripod, or even worse, hit the camera. So yeah, late 1800s, that's how the boys would amuse themselves. And all around here, there was camps for the mining. Today, I'm going to do that. So where you're using this product, bought that at Bunnings, it's just basically a clear coat, and it's gloss. I don't want flat, but gloss will bring it up. And these are the 3 sandpapers I've got. 400, 600 and 2000. And the most important is to keep this wet at all times, and obviously the wet and dry as well. So let's get into it. Here we have your basic dirty 4-wheel drive with dirty lights. There are all sorts of solutions on the internet toothpaste, lemon juice, Windex, soap, sugar soap, baking soda, Rain-X, white vinegar, Coca-Cola and magic eraser. Here's wishing you all a happy new year, and thanks for the support during the year. I appreciate that. Next year, going to be a big one. Cheers. Well, there you have it, a bit of back catalogue for you. Hopefully you can just skip through that and say, oh, didn't see that particular episode, and it might be worth then go back watching. Or if you don't want to endure 3 months of just binge watching, then you might just want to watch that little episode. Anywho, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you found it useful, helpful and or entertaining, that's great. Until next time, this is Paul Will Drive, signing off.